Public schools in Oklahoma City and Tulsa have recently been placed on high alerts. Capitol Hill High School in Oklahoma City opened under lockdown this week. The Oklahoman's Wendy Kleiman sat down for a one-on-one interview with Oklahoma City Schools Superintendent Karl Springer for an in-depth 20-minute interview. Kleiman asked Springer about the decision to keep schools on lockdown, what goes into that decision, does an extended lockdown lose its significance, and what would he tell the 36,000 students in the district about bringing weapons to school.
But really what we're talking about, it's a community issue. And the thing that I've learned is that every single instance of a threat, it depends on the situation as far as what we're going to do. So there's a continuum of kind of responses that schools will have. The responses could be everything from a building principal confiscating a BB gun or some kind of thing that looks like a weapon, dealing with the student and not doing anything beyond that, suspending the student, all the way to putting the school on lockdown, and maybe for a few days after that. It has to do with the way that we work with the community. And like I said, if we were just dealing with it as a school issue, that would be pretty simple. But really what we're talking about is it's a community problem. So working with the community, working with the police department, something that I want our school district to do and have. We've been doing that for 20 years with Oklahoma City Police Department. We're probably the balance is it's a decision that the school district makes by consulting with the police department. Building principals also real important in that kind of a situation, and the regional executive director who's over the building principal. In the most recent situation, when I got over to Capitol Hill, I was told, well, we've decided we're going to go on lockdown at noon, and the regional education director, Richard Ross, was there, and he'd been working with Dr. Maxfield, and they'd been talking about what they needed to do to. What you've got is a situation where you need to be able to raise your level of security. That takes some time. You can't just snap your fingers and raise your level of security. It takes time to be able to do that. So when something like this happens, it really requires us as a district to give some support. So our chief operating officer, Mr. Berkey, he gets the maintenance people together. We provide some people to come over and just be there to watch doors, and then to be able to go ahead and begin to search the building to try to raise our level of security. I think that over time, kids appreciate leadership that really does care about their safety. And if we're going to make a mistake in Oklahoma City schools, it's going to be on the side. We're going to err on the side of caution. I've heard some people that have brought it up and said, well, that's a punishment to the students. I don't see it that way. From our perspective, what we're trying to do is we're trying to reestablish a safe, secure, serene environment for kids to go to school. And it has nothing to do with punishing students. It has everything to do with making sure that those kids are safe. I like to think about the mom that's at home that, is a single mom, and what does she expect of us? And she expects that her child's going to be safe at school. The criteria that our administrators and teachers live by is, how would they feel if their students were in that school? What would we want to do to make sure that our kids would be safe? And that's a high standard, and it's not one that we take lightly. So, like I believe that there needs to be a continuum of response, and it needs to depend on the situation. I want to say that we'll be we're in a lockdown for a period of days for every situation? Absolutely not. There'll be some situations there won't be a lockdown. There'll be other situations it'll be an hour or two. There may be a couple of other situations where we have some unanswered questions, and we want to make sure that we have an environment that's totally secure, and that may take a couple of days. But it's all about making sure that we take care of our kids, that we have their safety and security's it's higher than learning. I mean, you really, if you're going to put it on if you're going to say what is the most important thing that Oklahoma City Public Schools needs to do, it's to make sure that those kids are safe and secure. That's the most important thing. Closely behind that is that they're learning and they're growing and all those kinds of academic achievement and growth activities. But really, it is an essential kind of a situation for us to make sure that's a safe and secure environment. We have raised our level of, we've raised our antenna. We're looking for things as an administration. And the other thing that's happened is we are trying to be as transparent as possible to the community. So our situation is I want parents to be able to trust that our schools are safe. And the way you do that is that we communicate on just about every incident that's out there. There are places that don't do that. We will be, you want to find out what's going on in our school district, pay attention to our website, because the way this works is that when any kind of incident comes up, the first thing that happens is I call the board members and give them a heads up. Almost at the same time, simultaneously, we're putting a letter on our website basically telling the community about a potential problem. In the future, our rapid phone system is going to make it so that within 15 minutes we'll be able to contact every family in the school district with a recorded message from me or a principal. That'll work for bad weather days and for times when we're going to have parent-teacher conferences. Any way we want to communicate. But we want to communicate with our families and give them that information as quickly as possible. So essentially what we're trying to do is establish more of a close relationship with the parents and to develop that kind of trust. It's absolutely counter to civilized behavior. We can't have weapons in our schools. Our schools need to be violence-free. They need to be safe havens. If there are groups of people that want to have some kind of conflict, they need to do it off our campuses. I've had parents ask me at PTA meeting, they ask me, well, what happens if a student's being bullied and should he hit people back? And the thing about it is, what we need to be able to do is we need to teach our children how to cope with stress, how to cope with people that bully them. And the way you do that is you tell a teacher, and the teacher takes care of that situation for you. I think that the Old West mentality of wanting to fight anybody that's willing to fight you needs to go. Because I think if you talk to anybody that is under the age of 100, they'll tell you that they could get in a fight every day if they wanted to. We need to develop some skills. We need to have parents help our children develop skills to be able to cope with stress and situations and other people. We need to be able to tell our kids that the reason they're there is we want them to have a great, wonderful kind of future, and for it to be an astonishing, unbelievable kind of opportunity that they're going to have for their life. And the only way we can do that is to have a real safe place for them to go every day where they can relax and concentrate on the issues of learning.